What is happening in ZANU-PF? 2030 Ndenge Chipo, is it causing havoc? Yes, just recently we saw two commander of ZANU-PF, Ziyambi na Jacob Mdenda, wachita friction mu parliament. Ishima factionary, or it's just fiction. What is happening? Alright guys, I'm going to be giving you details on how Mnangagwa plans to stay in power, of course, post his term, how Mnangagwa may be planning to extend his term without elections. Alright, speculations are that he has abandoned plans to scrap term limits. Of course, apart from scrapping term limits, they can be extended to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, etc. But is this even possible? We'll get there shortly. 2030, Ndenge Chipo is similar to Mugabe's slogan, "I am not going anywhere." It sounds not popular. But why do we even have that statement? And even in ZANU-PF, we even have a slogan, Inoti 2030. Mnangagwa wanenge wa Chipo. Why do we have that slogan? Isn't the slogan there to prime people so that when the time comes, there will be least resistance because people will be expecting it? Now, still on the same story, you prime 2030 then Chipo. We go to ZBC. There's a new CEO, of course, Arun's the acting CEO, and our youth secretary, or our youth secretary in something to do with ZANU-PF somewhere in Mashingo there. What we know is a ZANU-PF youth something in Mashingo, ZBC CEO, ku publicity. And we all know what kind of power, radio, TV, etc. Now, does this have anything to do with Vision 2030? Let's go to X.com, formerly known as Twitter. We see George Charamba writing. I'm just going to read directly what he says. People think they can see into the future, are raving themselves into a false frenzy of a third term which they seek to paste on President Mnangagwa. What does this statement mean? What does it say? Let me just read it again. People who think they can see into the future are raving themselves into a false frenzy of a third term which they seek to paste on President Mnangagwa. In other words, he's saying Mnangagwa is not seeking a third term. But of course, things can be changed. Of course, my words are upon obligation, right? Anyways, still on X.com, what does George Charamba go on to say? He says, "Nowhere at any level in our party are we having this conversation." Now, it's clear. Statement is not technicality. Nowhere at any level in our party are we having this conversation. Maybe they are having the conversation outside the party with other parties that are ruling with the ruling party. Now, of course, extending a term would need a referendum, and this would not apply to Mnangagwa himself. So I'm just going to read from the Constitution right here. Extension. Then we see the other options. But what are the other options are we having here? If we go to the Constitution of Zimbabwe, according to Section 91, a person is qualified for election as president or appointment as vice president if he or she has already held office as president for 2 terms. A person is disqualified for election as president or vice president if she has already held office as president for 2 terms, whether continuous or not. And for the purpose of this subsection, 3 or more years of service is deemed to be a full term. Or issue 3 or more years is deemed to be a full term is another subject. meaning kuti kana asina kusvika 3 years, it's not a full term, right? Anyways, kana asina kusvika 3 years, it's not a full term. Remember COVID-19 yakaita disruption ye 2 years. COVID-19 made a disruption at 2 years. Now, pane speculation that these guys, when they're planning to extend their term, they're going to use COVID-19 as an excuse. COVID-19 yakaita set back Vision 2030, Vision 2030 kufamba kwayo by 2 years. It set back Vision 2030 by 2 years. COVID-19, right? Does it have anything to do with this Section 91? Maybe. Remember, pane issue, of course, we may have substantial or issue of technicality at law, right? Now, Section 387, what does it say? Notwithstanding any other provision of this section, an amendment to a term limit provision, not Section 91(2), is a term limit provision, the effect of which is to extend the length of time that a person may hold or occupy at any public office, does not apply in relation to any person who held or occupied that office or an equivalent office at any time before the amendment. It says before the amendment. What about during the amendment? Right? So for this law also, year 381 to be amended, 328 to be amended or repealed, panel need a referendum. But set this aside. Tangwa George Charamba achiti mdara awaskuda re-election, awaskuda another term. Now there is speculation that these guys want to extend this current term by at least 2 years. Those guys are not our father. Of course, ZANU-PF, regardless of faction, cannot function EP. So this would offer them also a smooth transition, because if 2028 akamira Nelson Chamisa siri emasolo Mnangagwa pama election apa transition yachona achanga arima 1 already ZANU-PF amsati mataronza achanga achiyandiyana. Of course, according to hierarchy, anofananga achipinda ipapa ndi vice president Chiwenga. So not only are these constitutional amendments and matters can extend Emerson Mnangagwa's term limit, right? But the current term can actually be extended, like what happened in the year 2008. My term limits ipapo reaches 2 years leading into the GNU. So can we be seeing the same happening in our time right now where we are? All right, guys, that was it for now. Dr. Clarence is the name. TV7 on Gambakwa Media. As always, thank you.